Hey everybody, it's Elizabeth with Barefoot in Bloom. Welcome back to my garden here in Northeast Arkansas in Zone 7. So it is a balmy, chilly winter day. We still have snow melt, but I thought this would be a great opportunity to talk to you about why evergreen and hardscape structure in your garden is so important. Right now I have nothing lush, colorful, thriving, whatever, but I want to show you what I do have, because what I do have, this is why these things are so important. So we're going to walk around, we're going to look at some things that are asleep, things that are structures, and we're going to talk about why that's important when you're planting in the spring and the summer, especially if you're adding new beds or anything this year, or especially starting from scratch. You need to consider when your lush green things and your flowers have died back in the wintertime, what are you going to be left with? Because there have been places where I have been left with like a bed that has like almost nothing in it, and it looks so depressing in the wintertime. So you can kind of help that by planning ahead and adding some structure. We have a cat visiting. Hi buddy. Hi buddy. My little Frito boy. My little Frito boy. Right here in the front we have, this is an annual grass, so this is going to be replaced with an evergreen soon. But when we come and we look at this front section here, I have an evergreen shrub. This one has no structure in fall. Like it's a hardwood, so it's going to keep all these and it's going to be bigger next year. It doesn't get much bigger than this, so it'll just keep filling out. This is a perennial grass for us, so this is lovely winter interest because it just gives volume to a space. We do have this crepe myrtle here that we cut back. It's coming out this year. But this evergreen here, it does a lot for this space. It really anchors the front of the house. It anchors this bed. There's our other cat. They both look awful fat and fluffy today. Over here, I have my Mexican petunias. These die out every year. I have to cut them back. But this just goes to show why I don't cut everything back. I leave this for winter interest and for birds to get any seed heads or anything. And then of course you can see I've got my bird feeders. We have our holly evergreen shrubs, which are so lovely to have this burgundy deep green color in the dead of winter. And then of course we got snow melt. There's my winter sowing jugs. We have the structure element of this evergreen. We've got the bird baths. The roses always keep their size. I don't cut them back either. I'll cut them back in the spring. We've got some more evergreens here, and we have perennial evergreen herbs that don't die back. Now, in regard to hardscape, we've got the landscape timber edging. We've got the block raised beds. I've got my 2 archways here, which are cattle panels that stay in place year round. They're anchored in. The corkscrew willow is a wonderful structure in the wintertime. It's kind of hard to see it with the oak trees behind, but I love the curvy limbs. We've got some furniture out here, and of course this shed and the greenhouse do their own thing. They serve a big purpose, but they also provide structure. And then of course arch in the back stays there all the time. But I want to show you this one bed in front of the house that has only been here a couple of years. So our front bed here in the front yard, it's been there for 4 or 5 years now, and every other plant I have in there is evergreen. That was very intentional. We didn't want a lot that would die back. I have butterfly bush and roses, boxwoods, and the boxwoods they're about max size. That's as big as they're going to get, because I think they were baby gems. And then the monkey grass is evergreen. The butterfly bush, it keeps a nice structure. You see there's just structure to it, although it's not green. And then there's the roses. This is the newer bed I wanted to talk to you about. This one, it does a lot for me in the wintertime. This is why I don't cut back the grasses when they're no longer green. The seed heads on the top are so beautiful. These are so pretty at sunset. And then we've got our big evergreen here in the center doing a lot for me. It looks gorgeous with the snow, and it's just providing that nice green pop This is Rose of Sharon. Got another evergreen over here. And I love these seed heads. Like, look at that. That is so pretty. So I will cut these back in the spring. When they start pushing new green growth at the bottom, that's when I'll trim them back. I'll be relocating that one over there this year. And then, of course, we've got this evergreen. We've got trees. The cactus over there is actually still alive and doing fine. My hands are shaking because it is cold and I'm not wearing a jacket. I want to show you this other winter structure really quick because it's so lovely. That on this side of the barbecue grill is our hydrangea, and in the winter time it just keeps its flower heads on. It is so pretty. It just gives a nice whimsy pop to a space. This is a rose and this is a rose, and we don't have a lot that's tall over here. But then again, we have a lot of lilies in this side part of the porch, and they're lovely and they'll get really tall. But in the wintertime, we just have this monkey grass, and then we've got the roses that keep their structure. So I just wanted to show you what, I have implemented here and why it's important, because the hollies, they do a lot for me in the wintertime because I see them out the window a lot, and they are vibrant. They're not just green. Like some evergreens get like a dull green color in the winter. This one, not so bad. It's pretty vibrant enough to make me happy. But I really love this diversity. This is so beautiful. And then over here we've got light oranges. Oh, it's just divine. I love it. Love it. So you want to add things to your garden, keeping in mind what they'll look like in the wintertime. And I would say for each bed, like if you've got a bed where you've got like a 6-foot section that you're working on, this is the spot where your eye is going to go when you look in that direction. Have at least one evergreen and one hardscape item, whether it is like a decor item or a bird bath or a wagon wheel or whatever it is, to provide winter structure, winter interest. And some plants are actually, like, people love them specifically just for what they look like in the wintertime. Like one of them I recently got, I don't have it in my landscape yet, but it is red twig dogwood. It is a shrub and its stems are all red. So when it loses all of its leaves and it's just chilling in the wintertime, it's just red sticks poking up out of snow. I'm sure it'd be gorgeous. But anyways, we'll get to enjoy that next winter. But yeah, I mean, and it could also be like empty containers, your mailbox, little metal like yard ornaments that you put into the ground, or like me, I have like plastic and ceramic gnomes all over the place. I have concrete and plastic stepping stones. So when we don't have snow and we just have brown in wintertime, all these elements really matter. I can walk through the cottage garden. I can see from here, I've got a red mushroom statue. I've got angels. I've got a little dog statue in the cottage garden. All these things are not just whimsy. They provide life and structure and flow in the wintertime. When the garden is resting, but you're walking past it, and it just gives it life. So definitely recommend adding those sort of things, keeping that in mind when you're planning a space. Like I said, when you look into a certain area. So like I treat the left side of my porch differently than I do the front of my porch, differently than I do the shade garden on the other side of the porch, because these are all different places. I can't look at them all at one time. I look one direction and I'm seeing this bed right here. So this bed needs to have blooming flowers. It needs to have structure. It needs to have evergreen. It needs to have hardscape. It needs to have whimsy, because I love that. It needs to have everything. So at a glance, you look and you've got that. And then you can go into other planning layers when you're planning your annuals and your perennials to add that may not be evergreens, and be like, okay, that's just like how you want to have something taller in the back. You want to have one focal point. You want to have one plant that is stealing the show and nothing else competes with it, but they complement it. So then this is sort of the same thing, but just winter edition. So anyways, I hope these tips were helpful for you in figuring out winter planning. And I've never filmed a video showing you everything going on in my garden in the wintertime, much less when it was covered in snow, because it's the last thing I think of. But I thought, you know what, this is really important because I'm adding a few key more evergreen elements this spring, and I'm really excited about them. And the reason I am adding them is because in winters past, I have seen where I felt like there were gaps, where that bed could be improved with maybe a small evergreen, like my boxwoods out there that don't get really, really tall. And then other places like this bed out here, these evergreens will eventually be anywhere from 20 feet tall to 40 feet tall. And I know that, and I'll have to adapt those beds and move stuff around them as they fill in. But that was my intent. I wanted to eventually have a green wall there. So it's something that you have an idea of how you want it to be, but you're reevaluating and you're planning more every year. That's the fun part about gardening. Unlimited amount of money can go into a garden. But anyways, hope this was helpful and you guys have a wonderful day. If you're new to my channel, I just want to tell you really quick that I wrote 2 books about gardening that you might find helpful, and I would love it if you would check them out. I wrote the Cottage Garden Handbook and Nature's Top 25 Healing Plants. Both are currently listed on my Etsy shop as a printable digital download, and soon, maybe now, are on Amazon in print. So check them out if you feel like it.